And the pickup for this row is what I call a get out of jail free row, because it's exactly the same as the last row. So you can actually, instead of having to count it all this time, you can follow the last row. Looking at the yarn, so we want this one to be just the same. It's a bit quicker when you can copy the last row. There we go. So now we can grab our pattern weft again, bring it through and out at the last picked up spot, remembering not to pull too tight for that tension. Stick out, beat, and we can do a background weft. So the background wefts are just following your plain weave sequence. For instance, the last background weft I did was in the down shed, so this background weft is in the up shed. And you just follow that each time, just swapping back to up or down each time. Okay, last row is another get out of jail free, because we're going to copy the first row that we did. So we went and we put 2 under each one. Just have a look carefully at where your bottom yarn is sitting, the first pattern row that you did, and copy it. If you don't feel confident enough to copy it, that's fine, you can count them out again. Alright, we bring that one through again. What I'm using here is an 8-ply cotton. I think it would have been better if I used a 10-ply like the cream is, something slightly thicker, just to make the flowers stand out a little more. But I didn't have any of the thicker one in the colours that I wanted, and I didn't want to have to buy more cotton just to make these little flowers, so I'm just making do with these. Okay, so now I'm in the down shed. Now I'm ready to do my pickup for the yellow flowers. I'm going to start by coming in 20 after the border. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20. You bring that up and down over 3. Now we'll go 14, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. Bring that up and over the 3 again, and we'll count the 14 and the 3 again. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, over the 3, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, over 3, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, over 3, and that's our last one. So the pink flowers are going to be on the outside and the yellow will be on the inside. We can turn that on edge and we can bring in our yellow. once again leaving a bit of a tail hanging down the back. Can take that out, and I'm in the up shed. Oh, I've got to beat that one first. There we go. Up shed. Now our next pattern row for the yellow flowers. This time we're going to count in 19 from the border. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 19. And I'm going to go over 5 threads this time. Then we need to count 12. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Come up again and go over those 5 again. And we follow that pattern across to match up with our other yellow pattern pieces. Following through with the yellow. I don't know what I've done to my yarn butterfly, it's an absolute mess. Total mess. Didn't wind that one very well. Okay, that's our next pattern pick. Beat that in, and I am in the down shed. Back into neutral. Next row is get out of jail free, exactly the same as the last row. That's too easy. Now, where's my messy butterfly gone? I've lost it. Here we are. Oh, and something I should have mentioned before, the pink yarn that we were using for these flowers, you can leave a tail and cut that off at the back. You don't actually need to use that anymore, and it's going to get in your way if you don't cut it. Up shed. Next row is another easy one because it's the same as row 1, where we had 3. We were going over 3. As I said before, you can count them if you're not comfortable just picking them up visually. Come on, messy butterfly, you're giving me a hard time here. Okay, remove the stick, beat, and into the down shed again. And then onto our last pattern pick. Okay, last pattern row, we're going to count in 21 from the border. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 21. And this time we're just going over 1 thread. Next count is 16. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, and over 1 again, and then we just carry on 16 and 1 and 16 and 1. Remembering not to pull too tight. And I'm following up in the upshed this time. Now we'll just finish off this border part with 2 picks of cream. And 2 in blue. So that completes the blue that we started with there. So bringing the blue back in, leave a little tail at the edge, and on the next shed, tuck the tail in. Now we're going to have a look at some options for finishing off this section. Now this part is optional. You can just leave these as little dots if you like the way that they look as dots, but I want to make them look like flowers. So I've threaded up with some of the same yellow that I used for the top flowers, and coming into one of the pink ones, I'm going to go for the middle and come up through underneath the second row. Then I'm going to go straight up vertically but over the third row and pull that through. And I don't really want to be pulling tight. Now right next to that, in the same square, so to speak, in the same gap, I'm going to bring up another one right next to it and go down in the same place, like so. And what I'm going to do with the thread is I'm going to leave a tail to weave in later, and I'll go on to the next one. So I'm just putting a single knot in the bottom of this thread and coming up in the same spot each time. Not pulling too hard because, as you can see, it does draw them in a little bit, which is kind of cute, but we don't want to draw them right in or they won't be recognizable as flowers. And once again, leaving a tail to weave in later. And I'm going to do that to all my pink flowers.